Good morning, happy Easter, happy spring, and most of all, welcome. I'm very excited about our service this morning and want to thank Janine Gelsinger and everyone else who worked so hard to make it possible. Pat, Susanna, Carolyn, Sarah, Paul, and Jan. It truly does take a village. Here's a quote by Harriet Ann Jacobs to get us started today. The beautiful spring came, and when nature resumes her loveliness, the human soul is apt to revive as well. Enjoy our service.
Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? 'Cause I know from brokenness there's hope. I know from brokenness there's hope. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? To be prepared. I know I'm scared. To be prepared. I know I'm scared. And I know from brokenness there's hope. I know from brokenness there's hope. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? To be change is coming. I know what do we need to imagine? 'Cause I know from brokenness there's hope. I know yes, from brokenness there's hope. And I know change is coming. What do we need to imagine? I know change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? 'Cause I know from brokenness there's hope. I know change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine?
Spirit of life, how easy it is to speak your name and offer this prayer at this season of rebirth and renewal.
The spirit of life is everywhere, evident in each new bud and shoot. We pray that our lives may be blessed with that same renewal we see all around us in nature's annual celebration.
We ask that our eyes may be opened to gifts and companions that are part of our journey, whom we may be taking for granted. It is easy to walk the way of life with our eyes on the road ahead and to forget to look over into the eyes of those who share the way with us. Whether they are friends, family, or partners, it is good to remember that a Holy Spirit can be found in familiar and unexpected people and places.
The last place we expect to find that spirit is in the tomb within ourselves, where hopes and possibilities have lain buried, killed by time and circumstance and potential unfulfilled. Maybe that tomb is empty today. Maybe those hopes and possibilities walk beside you. Maybe something unexpected and unheard of awaits you in this season.
Be with us, Spirit of life, and help us to be open and awake to the springtime miracle that is in each one of us. We pause in silent witness to these hopes and aspirations.
Please recite with me our shared affirmation of mission. This fellowship is a welcoming, diverse, and nurturing beloved community that promotes progressive religious thought and practice to create a more loving, just, and sustainable world.
De colores, la canción, una de las canciones más antiguas que conocemos en el idioma español. Se canta en todo el mundo de habla hispana y se canta también ya en todo Estados Unidos. This is a song of the colors, colors of nature, colors of people, the beauty of life, de colores. De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De colores son los pajaritos que vienen de afuera. De colores es el arco iris que vemos lucir, y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí, y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Canta el gallo con el kirikiri, kirikirikiri. La gallina con el cara a cara, 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 cara. Los pollitos con el pío, 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 pío. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí todos. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí.
We call this light before us in hope that we may always remain a strong community, working together to make the world a better place.
Spring is my favorite season. I love the flowers blooming. I love when the temperature starts to get warm. I love being outside before it gets too hot. And growing up as a Phoenician, spring for me started in March. March is the month of spring break. March is my birthday month. And so spring is always an exciting time for me. But this year, it's even more exciting, and I bet you can guess why. We've all been through a long COVID winter, and spring brings with it the promise of change. Vaccines are on the horizon. I've had my first one. Many of you are already done with your second. And as we think about leaving our COVID winter, I feel there's so many spring analogies. When we think about the Easter story of rolling away the stone from the entrance to the tomb and emerging after those dark 3 days, what kind of world will we see? What has changed since we entered this time of social distancing? Has anything changed? When we think about the pagan tradition of Ostara, of thinking about new life and rebirth, what will be born anew? In a post-COVID world, what could this look like? What can we make happen together? Some of us engage in a spring ritual of spring cleaning, of deciding if items in our lives still bring us joy. And what if, besides just old clothes and kitchen utensils, we looked at our society and asked, does this still bring us joy? There were so many systemic inequalities that were there before, and under COVID were even worse. Because while for some of us, myself, I worked from home, I was able to isolate, I had what I needed, we know that for many of us, that wasn't the case. So many essential workers that couldn't leave their jobs, so many folks out of jobs, so many folks with community members sick and dying. So when we think about what changes will happen this spring, as we leave behind our social distancing, and our experience of this COVID winter, what can we do to dream together of a new future? Our opening hymn asked us, change is coming. What do we need to imagine? To answer that question, we have with us today 3 amazing dreamers. First, you'll hear from Laura Ilardo. Laura is the founder and coordinator of Volunteers for Keep Phoenix Together that runs free DACA clinics for all of those folks who are eligible for DACA, the Deferred Action for Child Arrivals. For folks who migrated when they were children. And as you may have heard about, UUJAZ is supporting these DACA clinics financially with staff time, supplies, and volunteers. Next, we'll hear from Maxima Guerrera, a community partner who was arrested this summer protesting during the Black Lives Matter uprisings. Max was at the protest as a legal observer, just watching the proceedings. And she went to leave. She went to get into her car and was pulled out of her car by a police officer when she was doing nothing wrong. She was arrested and threatened to be turned over to ICE for deportation proceedings when her community rallied and made so many phone calls and made a lot of noise outside the 4th Avenue jail. In fact, many of UUUs made calls on her behalf. And she was freed and now organizes at the state legislature against a bill that would prevent others from engaging in protest. Finally, you'll hear from Ileana Mirari. Ileana organizes with Aliento, a group that supports DACA recipients and dreamers. Most recently, they've organized around HR 6 at the federal level, which would provide a pathway to citizenship for DACA recipients, and also at the state level to provide free in-state tuition to anyone who graduates high school in Arizona, regardless of their immigration status. As we listen together to the voices of these dreamers, let's imagine what part we can play in making these dreams a reality.
Hello, my name is Laura Ilardo. I am the coordinator for the Keep Phoenix Together DACA Clinic. The DACA Clinic reopened in January of this year after 3 years of having it be closed to anybody who has not applied for DACA before. In the previous administration, it closed the door to many folks who would have been eligible for DACA. And with this new administration, we had reopening of DACA. So the clinics have reopened as of January, and I'm the coordinator for the DACA clinic here in Phoenix, the Keep Phoenix Together clinic. So the first question is, in my work with Keep Phoenix Together over the last year, I have seen 2 things. One is a sense of hopelessness turned into hopefulness. The first year, all of 2020, individuals were not eligible for DACA for the first time. And so there was a sense of hopelessness over the last few years of not being able to have an opportunity as others. And so there was a sense of just utter hopelessness. And in January, as the DACA was renewed and reopened, it turned into the sense of hopefulness, where now people feel as though they can have a level playing field and are able to take advantage of the DACA program, and have been applying and have been super excited about their future in a time last year where they were not able to. And the other thing that I have noticed in the past year is really a coming together of community and individuals for a common good. When DACA reopened, when the Keep Phoenix Together Clinic reopened, just seeing energized volunteers, energized people in the community saying, I don't know, how to do this, but please train me. I want to help. This is something I can do. And really seeing all these groups come together to really push the DACA clinic forward. And that has been super hopeful and nice to see in this past year, especially with COVID being so difficult. And then the second question, my dream for Arizona in a post-COVID world is, and the best way to answer it is through the voice of one of our clients that received a scholarship at the DACA clinic last month. She filled out an application that included her narrative of why she needed the scholarship and what was going on in her life. And she gave permission to share this narration. This really sums up what I would see my dream for a post-COVID. So she writes, being undocumented, I have faced many challenges, especially when it comes to being a teenager and a student. As a teenager, I don't get to do the same things as my peers do, such as getting a driver's license or even attempting to learn how to drive, in fear that I will come in contact with a police officer. I don't get the chance to get my first job and help my family with the bills or spend money on teenager things like concerts, school dances, and amusement parks. Even with the idea of starting my own business, I wouldn't have the finances to even begin. Being an undocumented teenager makes me feel like the odd one out, especially when your friends and family forget that you can't do the same things as them. It really takes a toll on my mental health. As for being a student, I don't get the chance to go to the dream school because I don't qualify for government financial aid and student loans. While I am receiving a good education, I know I am not where I can be and do my absolute best. Aside from the challenges I receive from being an undocumented immigrant, I face many other challenges, especially with my mental health. So my dream for Arizona in a post-COVID world is that people like this client are able to have a level playing field and are able to do the things that their peers and their family and their community around them are able to do, and that they are seen as equals in the society and afforded the same ability and privileges that we all are. So that's my dream. I also dream that our volunteers in our community will continue to come together when needed, and that we will continue to stand up and work alongside our immigrant neighbors, immigrant brothers and sisters when we see injustice, and to fight and to continue fighting. Thank you all so much. And if you'd like to volunteer, simply email me and I will send you a link with a training manual and a link on how to sign up for one of our volunteer shifts. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Hey everyone, thank you for having me here today. My name is Maxima Guerrero. I am a longtime community organizer here in Tohono O'odham territory, so-called Phoenix. And for the past 10 years, I've been able to engage in different campaigns. And what led me to join this movement was really my immigration status. In being undocumented, and especially in 2010 during SB 1070, having multiple laws that were anti-migrant and really wanted to create attrition through enforcement. Through this work, I've been able to advocate towards a pathway to citizenship, advocate towards removing police officers out of school campuses due to the overcriminalization of Black and brown youth. I worked in the special recall election of Russell Pierce and 2 campaigns to get Joe Arpaio out of office. And even though these 2 campaigns and all of this work was successful in removing these people from office, we still see their political culture engraved in the sheriff's office and at the state legislature. 2020, without a doubt, was rough for many of us. And in the midst of a global pandemic, we continue to witness the murder of Black lives. From an 8-minute and 46-second video and the murder of George Floyd to the murder of Deon Johnson by a DPS officer here in the state of Arizona. Many of us didn't have the option to seek comfort or safety and refuge in our homes, but instead were pushed to and forced to take action and demand police accountability and solidarity with Black lives. In late May of last year, I myself experienced an overuse of police power, and due to being a DACA recipient, was at the risk of deportation. And had it not been for my community for showing up for me, advocating for my release, advocating for ICE to not place me at a detention center, is the reason that I'm able to be here today. This experience allows me to realize and connect the fact that the Arizona State Legislature right now is trying to introduce bills in direct retaliation towards the uprising that happened at the end of last year. There's a lot of bills, and in particular HB 2309, which aims to criminalize protesting, and HB 2295, which aims to allow mandatory have active police officers in oversight committees. And we have seen in the local and national media, especially recently, in the news of political prosecutions, that police cannot and should not be investigated themselves. In a world post-COVID and towards liberation, we are truly able to engage with each other instead of engaging with police. And we are no longer hearing stories of officer-involved shootings, mass shootings, and envisioning a community where mutual aid is common, where joy is common, and where we are truly able to help, support, and provide for each other. In a world post-COVID, it is not the systems of white supremacy and anti-Blackness that continue to be in existence, but rather it is a world where all of our basic human rights are met, and in a world where we are able to take care of each other. So I invite you today to take action, to join in this legislative fight, to fight against these systems with us, to use your privilege that a lot of us may not have, to take action, to call out these systems in your homes, to call out these systems at the state legislature, and to continue to work with us in a pathway towards liberation and justice. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Ileana Merari. I've been part of Aliento since 2016. This song was created with the words and the thoughts and the ideas from Aliento's participants during the April Arts and Healing Workshop. It was titled In Harmony. And so the participants at that time were invited to share ideas and also feelings about what they were going through as the pandemic started. And also as we were expecting the Supreme Court decision around DACA. And so there was a lot of uncertainty, but also a big feeling of resiliency and unity. And so I put this song together with all of the words, and as I was a participant of that workshop as well, the feelings that were expressed. And so I hope that you like it. that shine our light with faith, y aún en la distancia, unidos till the end, unidos till the end. Aunque la incertidumbre haga borrosa la jornada, sentimos en el alma la esperanza del mañana. Aunque la incertidumbre haga borrosa la jornada, sentimos en el alma la esperanza del mañana. We must protect each other. Together we are stronger. We must protect each other. We're not alone. We're not afraid. We're not alone. It's not too late. Aunque la incertidumbre haga borrosa la jornada, sentimos en el alma la esperanza del mañana. Aunque la incertidumbre haga borrosa la jornada, sentimos en el alma la esperanza del mañana.
I breathe in all that is awareness, expanding to take everything in, as if my heart beats the world into being. From the unnamed vastness beneath the mind, I breathe my way into wholeness and healing. Inhalation, exhalation. Each breath a yes, and a letting go, a journey, and a coming home. Now is the time for silent meditation.
We have been warmed by fires we did not build. We have drunk at wells we did not dig. In gratitude of our many blessings and many needs, this morning's offering for this community will now be received.
One seed is all it takes to grow a forest. One candle can light a dark room. One voice faces in love, speaking words of love. Each moment becomes what we choose. Do you want a new world? A world that works for everyone? Open your heart and let it be. We can become a new world. Mother Earth beneath the sky, she's waiting for you and for me to be anew. Our dreams light the path for us to walk on. Our songs help our spirits align. And each little child helps remind us why we not only might, we must thrive. Do you want a new world? A world that works for everyone? Open your life and let it be. We can become the new world. Mother Earth beneath the sky, she's waiting for you and for me to be a new world. With just this thought, it has begun. And don't you wanna see a new world? Mother Earth beneath the gray sky, counting on you and me to be a new world. To be the new world.
I have a reading for you today, and it's by my dear friend and colleague, the Reverend Theresa Soto. It's called Finding Our Dreams, and they start with a quote from Georgia O'Keeffe. We haven't found enough dreams. We haven't dreamed enough. The world makes many demands on your time, your skin, your heart, until you are left gasping and wondering if you will ever do enough, be enough, have enough. Stop your counting, your measuring and checking. You are enough. So much more than enough, made from fragments of the galaxy. You do measure up. And to recover from the doubt pressed upon you, the antidote for doubt is dreaming. All the dreams that call to you, lime green and frosting pink dreams, the other soft and tender dreams that run blue to gray, sky indistinguishable from lulling sea. The dreams that seem impossible, listen, that's their nature. If they had already happened, then they would be realities, solid and smooth, like the round bone home of an unbroken egg. Be brave enough to name your dream, nurture it, and allow the rhythm of your breath to bring your dreams to life.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth, keepers of faith, makers of peace, and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are one.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
What a wonderful and inspiring service it was. Janine Gelsinger will join us for coffee hour today, so please stick around. I would like to leave you with one more quote today. Follow your dreams, they know the way. Adios.
brilla el sol, un lugar en que los sueños se hacen realidad. Detrás del arco iris quiero estar y volar, y que la magia se haga realidad. Algún día quiero estar ahí sentado en nubes de algodón y estar feliz. Sentado allí en ese lugar, no habrá problema que pelear, solo hay felicidad. Detrás del arco iris brilla el sol, un lugar en que los sueños se hacen realidad. Detrás del arco iris quiero estar